AITA for letting my 33F husband 31M feel emasculated. I'm currently taking time off work because we welcomed our second baby girl. The delivery was tough, so my company let me stay home for 90 days, which ends next Friday. Lately, I've noticed my interest in romance has gone way down. This also happened after our first daughter was born 3 years ago. I've been unintentionally ignoring my husband, who really values cuddles and stuff, and I haven't been very affectionate. Things got more serious when my husband Derek suggested I quit my job and stay home with the kids. Even though we both make good money, I bring in more as a lawyer than he does as an engineer. He thinks he can get a promotion and manage our finances so we don't need daycare or a nanny. It's a big decision and I'm not sure what to do. At first I said no to his idea. I'm also up for a big promotion at work. We've been together for 8 years and married for 4, and he knows how much my job means to me, just like I support his career goals. I told him that with both of us getting promoted, we could give our daughters a better life. But he said I should take my time deciding and tried to be close to me, but I wasn't feeling it, so I said no to even cuddling. So he ended up sleeping in the guest room last night. This morning, after a tough night with the baby, I talked to him about not helping out much. To my surprise, Derek was shaking and crying, saying he felt abandoned and useless. He mentioned how we haven't been as close since our first daughter was born and how he feels like he's not needed because I'm successful at work. It made me realize how he's been feeling, and it's tough for both of us. After he calmed down a bit, he went off to work looking really upset and distant. He hardly even noticed the breakfast I made, and he didn't give me a kiss goodbye. And now he's not answering any of my texts or calls. Then my mother-in-law messaged me asking why Derek's at her place, saying he showed up last night planning to stay over. She's worried because he hasn't been talking to her either, and she thinks there might have been some kind of argument. Update 1. Yesterday, I posted on AITA about something that had been bothering me. 2 nights ago, we had a talk and he got really upset. He ended up sleeping in the guest room that night, and then yesterday he didn't say a word to me and ended up staying at his parents'. I only found out because my mother-in-law told me. I was annoyed by how he acted, but I also started wondering if maybe I was in the wrong. I'm 33, on a long maternity break, and things are going well for me. I have a chance to move up to senior associate at my job. My husband, who's 31, let's call him Derek, is an engineer. We're doing pretty good financially, both making 6 figures, although I make a bit more than him. Derek's always been supportive of my career, and even though he's not as involved in parenting our 2 girls 3 and 12 weeks as I am, he helps out a lot around the house. Last week, he suggested that I stay home instead of going back to work when my leave ends next Friday. At first, I thought he was joking, but he kept bringing it up, saying we could save money by him getting a promotion and us not needing daycare or a nanny. I still didn't take him seriously. Then 2 nights ago, he brought it up again. He started talking about traditional roles and how our daughters would be better off with a stay-at-home mom. I didn't like what he was saying at all. When he tried to get close to me, I pushed him away and wouldn't let him even hug me. That's when he went to sleep in the guest room. I had a rough night with our baby girl, so I didn't get much sleep. When I went to talk to Derek about it yesterday morning, he was really upset and crying. He said he's been feeling useless and not like a man. Then he left for work without saying much and didn't come back home. This morning he finally texted me, saying sorry for his outburst and promising we'll chat face-to-face tonight. He asked me not to call and has been short and to the point in his texts. A lot of people commenting on my post said Derek's a big warning sign, but that's not true. He's always been supportive and a great dad. This meltdown isn't like him at all, and he's definitely not a mama's boy. Some folks also said I might have been neglecting him, which might have a bit of truth to it. See, Derek really thrives on physical affection, but since our first baby was born, and especially during the last pregnancy, my desire for that kind of stuff has kind of gone downhill. He's mentioned feeling a bit left out, but we've been making up for it with other ways of being close. Some folks said I shouldn't give up my job, and I won't, that's for sure. Some think Derek might be going through a mental health thing, and I think they could be onto something. I haven't really checked in with him properly to see how he's holding up. Maybe that's why he had that meltdown, but it doesn't explain his idea about me quitting work. I'm not exactly asking for advice right now. I'm just hoping that tonight we can at least sort out the problems we're facing and agree to get some therapy. Update 2. Oh my goodness, to those who mentioned that Derek might have been influenced by red pill ideas, you hit the nail on the head. Last night, Derek had a chat with his folks. Then this afternoon, my father-in-law called me to see how I was doing and fill me in on their talk. He noticed some things Derek said that sounded like stuff from those Manosphere videos. So he straight up asked Derek what kind of stuff he'd been watching lately. He gave Derek a good talking to about how ridiculous it was to act like he needed to be some macho guy and run off to his parents' house over what was basically a tantrum. I would have loved to see that. But seriously, it's not okay for him to bail on his family like that. Just to give you some background, my in-laws' 62-year-old dad and 58-year-old mom were all about that traditional family life. Dad worked in trades while mom was a secretary. But once my sister-in-law came along, mom switched gears and became a stay-at-home mom. She kept busy volunteering at church and around town, and she even had a bunch of side hustles. They raised my husband, Derek, to look for a partner who was on the same level as him. Luckily, I fit right into their expectations for their son. Anyway, Derek got back home early in the evening, all sorry and saying he'd been led astray by some stuff he'd seen. But I could tell he wasn't really feeling it, you know. Instead of jumping on him about it, I decided to ask him how he was really doing and if he felt neglected. Even if those ideas about a traditional wife came from those red pill videos, maybe he was just feeling vulnerable. I wanted to give him a chance to talk, but it seemed like he wasn't being straight with me. I mean, he's got his issues, but he's not just a victim of all that stuff he's been watching. A few of you mentioned that maybe I've been stopping Derek from pitching in more around the house. So we talked it out and decided we should both go to therapy to deal with our own stuff and work on our marriage together. Derek said he won't throw any more tantrums, and we agreed that I'll go back to work once my leave is up. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this plan will help. I believe Derek is serious about making changes, but I'm not so sure about how sorry he really is. It's kind of up in the air right now. In the meantime, he's going to stay home with the kids. Edit. There's not much new to report. Things are pretty much the same as before. We're trying to get back to how things used to be. I want to clear up some stuff about how I talked about Derek's outburst. He actually called it a tantrum in his text apology yesterday morning, so I just went along with it, even though I know it's not the best way to describe it. Some people asked if Derek's still watching those podcasts. I can't exactly snatch his phone away, so it's hard to say for sure. I haven't caught him watching them, but it's not something I've paid attention to before. When it comes to those warning signs, Derek was honestly the perfect husband until recently. I'm not sure when things started to shift. I was caught up dealing with my own postpartum stuff, so I couldn't really tell if he had changed or if I was just overreacting. So yeah, he's been showing some red flags lately, but he wasn't always like this. Some folks have thrown out the idea that Derek might be cheating. I don't really think that's what's going on, but I can't say for sure. A few months back, I would have bet money that wasn't even a possibility, but it's not my main theory right now. Some of you have mentioned that having a parent at home, especially the mom, can be really good for our kids, and maybe I shouldn't be so quick to brush off that idea. Both Derek and I can work from home a lot, and we're lucky enough to be able to afford a nanny or daycare. My promotion might mean I'm out of the house more, but I could still be home for most of 2 weekdays. Derek might have to work full-time in the office if he gets promoted. The first time he talked about it, he didn't want to take it because the extra money wouldn't make up for not being around as much for the girls. So when he suggested I quit and he take the promotion, it seemed kind of weird since he'd said the opposite before.